And the universe we create of our own accord using our own concepts and our own opinions and our own senses and our own past experiences and memories and stories and our influences from the past and our trauma and our emotions and our parents being passed on the generations and the grammar structures that are embedded in our psyches because of the language that we're raised in. And there's no objective truth in the universe, unfortunately, except for math. And math isn't even really in the universe. It's something that we invented. So there really is no objective truth, unfortunately, and that's all. The world is the representation that we make of it. We subjectively impose our own notions and conceptions onto the world, which are there and not there at the same time. Because yes, matter exists, energy exists, the particles that our cones and rods receive in our eyes are real, photons are real, wavelengths are real. However, our experience of the universe, our subjective experience of the universe, not even close, in no way, shape, or form, is even close to approximating the objective reality that we're immersed in. And yet we have this fallacy, sort of this global, omnipresent fallacy that the world we see is the world as it is. This is a mistake. This is what I've called concept superficiality really means to me. I want to start here with a very simple and clear example from pop culture, actually, which is this dress that appeared maybe 4, 5, 6 years ago. The dress that we saw, where some people saw blue and black, other people saw yellow and gold or something. And this strange phenomenon that we saw, where some people saw a blue and black dress, others saw a white and gold dress, is just some of the clearest evidence that what we see in the world is not objectively what it is. And there was no real trickery involved here. The picture was exactly what it is. Everyone saw the same pixels, everyone saw the same photons, unless you were colorblind or blind, then you probably didn't see anything. But everyone with functional eyes and a functioning brain saw the same picture, and yet the way we interpreted that picture was different. And this was a very clear and good and obvious example of something that takes place every single day, which we don't even realize usually. For the most part, we have languages, we have shared languages, and we have shared concepts, and our concepts line up with other people's concepts. I say, this is a mug, and you say it's a mug, and we're okay. If I call it a cup, you might be like, that's not a cup, that's a mug. And I might be like, well, I include mug as something underneath cup, and cup is an umbrella term, or you might think that cup is independent of mug, and that's just a very small distinction, which we probably wouldn't get heated about, but it's the same thing either way. We're just calling it by different names, and it's not just the names that are different, it's the way that we're looking at it. It's our perception of the thing. I would see this as a cup, and for me, cup has a bunch of other relations attached to it, and a person that sees this exclusively as a mug wouldn't have all those other relations attached to it. And so in this case, it's not that serious or important, but another obvious case is abortion. I talk about abortion a lot, and I'm not very passionate at all about the issue, as a matter of fact. I'm passionate about arguing against people who are passionate about the issue, because I'm passionately dispassionate, you could say. Just in the same way, I might say this is a cup, and you might say, no, it's not a cup, it's only a mug. Mug and cup are independents. We would have a similar sort of argument as to whether the fetus is a human being, and furthermore, and whether that fetus is something that is morally permissible for us to terminate. And just like the mug versus cup conundrum, it's the same problem, which is that it's not really an objective answer, even though extremists on both sides will talk about the issue as though it is some objective truth that, oh, this is not a baby, it's a woman's right to be able to terminate a pregnancy, as though it's some objective thing that is just obvious to them, and it's a fact that this is a baby, rather this is not a baby, and we're allowed to kill it, versus the other side, which says that it is a baby and then we're not allowed to kill it. And we're dealing with absolutes on both sides. And that's just one of the biggest problems in philosophy and the world in general, is that you can't say anything, you can't make a statement if it's not an absolute statement, but there are no absolutes. So like, I need to be able to talk about this thing. If I want to have a conversation about this mug, then I call it a mug or a cup, but depending on our language, depending on the language that I use, you might misinterpret something that I'm saying. If I call this a cup, you might get confused, or you might challenge me or start fighting me or something. When we have these subjective perceptions on the world that we really believe in really strongly, it can feel like an actual attack when somebody poses a contrary perspective to yours, even though theirs is just as flimsy and subjective as yours is, and all of them are equally flimsy and subjective, really. It's just a matter of which ones support you and make you strong so that you can survive and reproduce and you can stand the test of time. And beliefs are arbitrary, and that's the whole thing. So it's not that they're pointless, it's that they're necessary but not objective. They're necessary but not objective. So again, I want to be clear, I'm actually very dispassionate about the abortion debate, but I am passionate about the topic itself because it's very interesting. I think it reveals a lot about human nature and our perceptions of the world. I think these very heated debates that you'll see on abortion it's just subjective perspectives clashing with each other, and each of them fighting and arguing for them to be perceived as the objective truth, when there really is no objective truth in cases like these. I've argued that the only objective truth is mathematics, which is what mathematics is defined as, in my opinion, because you cannot have a fact without concepts, and you cannot have an objectively truthful statement unless you have flawlessly defined concepts, and that is precisely the objects that we deal with in mathematics. Exclusively dealt with in mathematics are these flawlessly defined objects such as numbers or groups or rings or shapes. Those are the only cases in which you can have an objectively truthful statement. And so let me move on to one final example. One of my favorite examples that I've just thought about this for so long, written about it in my journal extensively. The Eskimos, or the Inuit, I suppose. I've heard that the Inuit have 50 different words for snow. Now, we only have one word for snow. Maybe you could say slush or ice or hail. Maybe those are all other words, but we don't have anywhere close to 50 words for snow. That's insane. And that doesn't just mean that they have more words in their vocabulary. It means they have more concepts in their head for what snow is. I see thick snow, I think snow. I see light snow, I still think snow. I'm still seeing them the same way. There's not really a huge distinction in my head between the two. For them, their lifestyle is in the snow. The snow is everywhere. The snow is omnipresent, and they have all these distinctions, and they don't just have different words. They're seeing different things. We see snow, we see different kinds of snow, but we're still just seeing snow. They actually are seeing different things. They're seeing thick snow and light snow, and they're distinct in their minds. And it's fascinating because language is a reflection of how we see the world, or the world is a reflection of how we see the language, or they're intertwined as one. And that's a very interesting question, which I will not really pursue that deeply in this because I don't know that much about it. I haven't researched it very much, but it is very interesting to think about. See, this is part of the reason why I'm a huge advocate for having a large vocabulary and reading a lot, is because when you have distinctions between two words which you maybe thought were synonyms, you thought they were interchangeable, and then you realize that they were actually a little bit different. It's like the Inuit, when they see the different kinds of snow, you're able to see a more fine precision of your reality, and you're able to see things that you wouldn't be able to see unless you had these distinctions. You know, we're at a point right now where technology is developing, so maybe in the future there'll be like some new language that develops someday where we're ever increasing our vocabulary with new novel words, because there are a lot of words out there, but the words that we have are finite to some extent. So if you become a super mega expert in a particular topic like snow, for example, like the Inuit, if you become a super mega nerd in, say, computer science, you're going to learn all this new vocabulary, and you're going to start seeing things with more precision in that realm of computer science. But maybe this is a bad example, because there actually are new things being developed in computer science, and there are being new names given to the things that we invent. So this is actually a really, really bad example, because we are actually coming up with new names for things in computer science. But the fact is that in a lot of disciplines, just not even in disciplines, just in anything, our vocabulary is finite. But we can always invent new vocabulary and find other ways to describe things without using those words necessarily. But the point is that we're creating what we see with the concepts that we have, based on the information that's being fed to us via our cones and rods and ears and everything. And the universe we create of our own accord, using our own concepts and our own opinions and our own senses, and our own past experiences and memories and stories, and our influences from the past, and our trauma and our emotions and our parents being passed on the generations, and the grammar structures that are embedded in our psyches because of the language that we're raised in. And there's no objective truth in the universe, unfortunately, except for math. And math isn't even really in the universe, it's something that we invented. So there really is no objective truth, unfortunately, and that's all. But if you have any developments on this, I'd really love to hear what you have to say, because this is a topic that I think is just really cool, and I wanted to share it with you. And, you know, if you're interested in this sort of stuff, make sure to subscribe to my channel, because I'm always looking for more people to connect with and discuss things with in the comment section. And that is all.